Good evening. And how's everybody doing out here tonight? It is Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. Welcome to another episode of The Fifth. I am your host, Dr. G, Dr. Sandy, Dr. Delise. Put it all together, Dr. G, Sandy Delise. However you feel about it, I'm glad you're here. Today is only Tuesday, but I hope that you've been having an amazing week, a productive week thus far. Hopefully nobody's still recovering from last week. I mean, you already had the week to make that through. But nevertheless, I thank y'all for stopping by and rocking with me tonight. We're going to get started. Tonight's show might be short. Tonight's show might be sweet, but tonight's show has a message. All right. We all walking through a journey. So the episode, you should see it scrolling across your screen. Tonight, we're talking about the hurt. We're talking about the hustle, but we're also talking about healing. Hurt, hustle, heal. All right. Each one goes with the other. I got a comment in the screen. Hey, Krista, how you doing? How's my boy doing? Nice to have you back. I appreciate your support, and I look forward to having, you on here. So hopefully tonight I'm able to give you some nuggets. Hopefully tonight I'm able to inspire you. Hopefully tonight I'm able to give you something to look forward to, or find something about yourself that you're like, I got it. This is what I can do. All right. So we're going to get started and see. Awesome. I'm glad you're all good. Tell him I said hello. I was just talking about him the other day too, and I said I saw you. They asked about him, so I was like, I need to show his art. So I got to make sure I show his art to other people that I told about how amazing and awesome he's doing. So I'm proud of him. Please let him know that. All right. So let's talk about hurt, hustle, and heal. So what is hustle? Right? Hustle could be quick movements, right? Hustle could be just being busy. Hustle could mean moving something forcefully, right? But a lot of times when we talk about hustling, we talk about the grind. We talk about, what are you doing to be productive? What are you doing to maintain your livelihood? What are you doing that's taking care of you from day to day? So that's the hustle that we're talking about. All right. So we're going to get started from the top. We're going to break it down. Okay. We're going to go with the hurt. We're going to drop down into chapter 2 with the hustle. Okay. Now we're going to go into chapter 3 with heal. And then we're just going to let the plane land and close out this session. So feel free to comment in the chat. I'm going to go back and forth. I'm a one-man show, so I'm working this. So, so let's go. So hurt can come in so many different forms. Hurt can come from so many different people. Hurt can come from things, right? But the most important thing, I'm going to talk about hurt for right now, because a lot of times people hurt or are hurting or have been hurt or is hurting someone, right? And in all of those instances, either you're going to, I'm going to use the word embrace, right? Or I'm going to use the word, you have to either embrace it or you're going to ignore it. All right. I'm a person, if anybody knows me, that says you got to feel your feels, and for lack of a better term, it is painful and it hurts when you decide to sit in it and feel what you're feeling. All right. I've been through different things, and everybody wants to run from the pain. And I'm not going to say I didn't run before from the pain, but I've understood and I've learned along the way that embracing the hurt is a part of the journey. I feel like if you don't embrace the hurt, you're going to miss a whole lot of steps, right? You're going to miss the chance of understanding what you're really going through. You're going to miss the chance to understand how you need to grieve and how to grieve properly, right? You're going to miss the chance to understand why it's okay to be angry if you've been hurt, because anger is not always bad. Like I tell my students in school, it is always okay to be angry. Okay. What's important is what you do with your anger, what you do because you're angry. All right. Hurt is a natural feeling. Hurt is a natural emotion. All right. So we all, no matter what, you can escape it. We all have been hurt in different ways, or hurt by different people, or you've hurt someone, whether it's a little bit or whether it's a lot, you've hurt, so it's just a matter of, when you're hurt, how do you respond? How do you react? How do you handle being hurt? Right. And it is very important to make sure you grab a hold of it. Now, not letting the hurt that you're going through drag you into a place of isolation. All right. I did a podcast with a friend of mine a long time ago. Right. Well, I won't say it's that long, but it's been a while. And we spoke about isolation, and we spoke about being in solitude. Right. From my perspective, and this is just my opinion, right? Solitude is okay with me. All right. Isolation to me is when you're just cutting yourself off from everything around you and you don't want to be bothered by anybody. Therefore, it's hard for you to absorb any positivity for you to move forward. Right. But then I feel like there's nothing wrong with some good solitude. Right. Sometimes we all need to take a break. Sometimes we need to just go sit in that space. Me, I like to go to the ocean. I like to go to the beach. If there's a lake and I can't have a beach, I'll do that as well. But I like to go there and just sit. If it's a beautiful day, listen to the wind and just, examine, what am I going through? Why am I going through it? How do I feel about what I'm going through? Like, you have to address it, because not addressing it could make your journey even longer of going through the stages of what you need to go through. All right. So you have the hurt. Okay. It is what it is. It's not the end of the world. Yes, you may hurt. And I'm not talking about physically hurting from, being in an accident or falling or getting hit by something. I'm talking about something that's innate, something that's within you, something that nobody else can see, right? Because there's a lot of people that's really good at masking pain and masking hurt, and God forbid they don't deal with it in a way that, it causes trauma or they hurt themselves or whatever. So like they always say, if you have a friend or you see somebody just kind of isolating themselves, check up on them, ask them how they're doing, and they may just be waiting for that person to come out and say, I'm feeling this way, and then vomit everything out to you. But, if you're a person, and I'm not throwing any shade on anybody, it is what it is. Everybody are not good listeners, and everybody does not like to take on the burdens of other people, and everybody doesn't want to listen to somebody else complain, especially if you are going through something yourself, right? I can say for me, as I've gone through my journey, talking to other people, helping them out, and guiding them through whatever journey they're going through has been a healing process for me, because it's made me not just see my situation, but some of the things that I was saying to them, I was like, ooh, maybe I should try this for myself, right? So for me to tell somebody else or help somebody else or give somebody else my opinion about something they're going through, right? I hope that while I'm adding value to their life, I know I'm adding value to my life too, because knowledge is power. You know what I'm saying? Knowledge is power, and knowledge is key. The more you know, the more you grow. Not the more you know for you to be arrogant, but the more you know that you can share and you can be of use to somebody else and help yourself. So, deal with your hurt, deal with your pain, be there for somebody else that's hurt, and be there for somebody else that's going through something. As long as you know that you can handle it and it's not going to put you in a deeper sense of, feeling depressed or something. Yeah, big time. It's important to practice what you preach. That's right, Krista. It's important. And we're not perfect, right? Nobody's perfect, but it kind of makes you check yourself. Hey, Chelsea, it's good to see you on here tonight. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, so practice what you preach pretty much holds you, makes you accountable. Like, I say this all the time, and I'm probably going to say because it's a story of my life. I'm a teacher. So I'm very, very aware, and I try to be very intentional in the way that I speak. I try to be very intentional in the way I model a lot of the information I have to give to the students in my classroom. So, it checks me. I'm constantly checking myself. Like I have to be there for kids that are trying to maintain how to handle their emotions. And in the same space, I have to be conscious that I also have to handle my emotions appropriately because, like Krista said, I have to practice what I preach. I name what I'm going through. I name what I'm going through. I have conversations every single day and the kids get frustrated, but I do too, especially when kids are having a lack of accountability. But I know it is my job and it is my duty to help them understand what accountability is, So I also give them the language that they need, like say that I'm frustrated, say that I don't like what somebody is doing, right? Because I don't want them to just walk around with hurt or walk around with pain and not be able to name it or label it so that they can get the appropriate help that they need. Because one of the hardest things people go through when they're hurt is they don't know how to name and describe exactly what they're feeling. And that is not an easy thing to do because your mind is cloudy, right? Your judgment is off and you just want to label it as something. Label it as something because this is what I'm feeling. And sometimes you don't even really know what you're feeling, so you just sit there and that's okay. It's okay to take your time as you go through the process of the journey. Nobody says that you have to rush through anything. Okay. My whole point is if you are hurt, it's okay to be hurt. Just don't act inappropriately. Just don't act to the extreme out of your hurt. And most importantly, be mindful of allowing your hurt to turn into anger, right? Because that can be very dangerous, especially when you start putting that anger off to other people that did not have anything to do with the situation or is really trying to be there for you and help you. All right. So deal with the hurt. It's a part of the process of life. It's a part of the process of if you've been through a tough time or if you've been through a traumatic time in your life. It's part of the process. All right. Now you may wonder, why did I go from hurt to hustle, and not hustle to heal, right? Not from hurt to heal, but hurt to hustle. Okay. In between all of that, you have to hustle. There are things that you're going to have to do for yourself, right? You don't just go from hurting and jump directly into healing. Okay. There is a process in between it. And that process in between is the hustle. That process in between is what are you doing to move yourself from this part of the scale, the left to the right, or from the bottom to the top, however you want to look at it. All right. But be mindful that when you're hustling, you're not just being busy just to make the time pass by. Maybe in the early stages of trying to get past your hurt, you may want to be busy, but you have to be mindful to not get stuck in that busy stage. Okay, because unproductive busyness really just keeps you stuck and you don't move forward. You don't go anywhere. You find yourself doing the same things. And then you look years down the line and realize like nothing is happening. I could have done this differently, or I could have got myself to where I need to be. So be mindful of not being stuck in busyness and be productive. All right. Don't just do anything just for you to get by. Do something to make a difference for yourself. Do something to make a difference for yourself. And maybe in that process, you will inspire the lives of other people, right? Somebody can be a blessing to you, so you be a blessing to somebody else. All right. So don't just try to jump from the hurt to the heal. In between, get your hustle on, do things for yourself, learn something new, right? I know there's a lot of people out there that love to read books. read, give yourself some knowledge, learn a new craft, learn something new, but don't just stay stuck in the busyness of life. Like, make it count, make what you're doing in the process and what you're giving another, and when you're giving another chance to yourself, make it be worth something. All right, because there are gonna be scars. You're gonna have scars from being hurt, right? But you also have to understand, being hurt doesn't mean you're weak. Being hurt is actually giving you strength. It's building you up, because for you to get from that place to get to the healing, you have to be able to withstand the process in between those two extremes. Okay, so whether or not you feel it or whether or not you know it, you're getting stronger. As you heal, you're getting stronger. And you never know, you may be inspiring somebody else that's going through something, right? And watching the way that you move and watching the way that you're doing things and watching the way that you're going through your journey, you may be inspiring somebody else. So don't get stuck in a business. Don't just do something to be doing something. You know, at the beginning, you may do something just so that you're not just sitting around and feeling like, woe is me, right? But as you move forward and you feel better, right? The sun starts to shine, the rain stops, the cloudiness goes away, then, you know, you can see what you're doing. There's sacrifices that you're going to have to make. Okay? You're going to have to make a lot of sacrifices. You're going to have long nights, and you're going to have to be persistent. You know, because it's going to be very easy to feel down, right? But you have to motivate yourself to see the light. You have to motivate yourself to know that these long nights, these times of feeling down, it's going to pass by, as long as you know there is somewhere that you're going to. Okay? You make sacrifices, right? I've heard people say, like, they've gone through different situations or been with somebody else, and then, I need to get away from wherever they're at. Like, you go look to start a whole new different life. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine, right? To each his own. What works for me, Chris says, I feel like Wonder Woman most days. Yeah, you probably do. I know sometimes I feel like Wonder Woman too, you know, but it doesn't exclude the fact that some days when I don't feel like Wonder Woman, I got to accept the fact that, look, I felt like Wonder Woman yesterday. Today is not that great of a day, but I know I want to get back there. So yes, I will say to you, Krista, you are right. When you're going through a journey and you're traveling from hurting to healing, and you're doing all the hustling in between and you're grinding, you do feel like Wonder Woman, and you feel like Wonder Woman or Superman because you're gaining your strength. You're realizing, like, you know what? I can do this. I'm not going to stay stuck here. I am going to take advantage of those little moments of light, those little moments where I can actually see the sun shining. And those are the things that you build upon. And believe me, it works. You know, it might seem like it's impossible, but it works, and it's going to happen. And then you're going to find yourself looking back at your journey and saying, wow, I never thought that I would be here from where I was, right? And now you're a walking, living testimony to help somebody else that may be going through something. I can tell you, like, I have not been able, well, let me not say I've not been able to. I would have never seen myself speaking to so many people about relationships, or just, I mean, and I'm not just talking about marriage and divorce. I'm talking about just point blank relationships, right? And people see you and they want to talk to you, because what you don't realize is, as you go through this journey, even if you don't feel like you're strong on some days, somebody still sees you as having strength, and they want to talk to you because they feel like, if I'm watching you go through this day after day after day, and you still have a smile on your face, and you're still pushing through, and you're still so thankful for this life that you live, they want to know, how can I get there? They don't want to be like you. They just want to know, how can I get there? How can I find this peace? How can I find this happiness? Right? And how can I get to joy? Because for me personally, happiness and joy is not the same thing. Right? From my perspective, happiness comes and goes. Joy is something that you can keep. It's not to say you're not always going to be happy, but you do have joy. Okay, and it's in there. You may be sad in the moment, but there is joy in your body, there's joy in your soul, and you know that what you're going through in this moment, it's not gonna last, right? So you have your hurt. The hustle is the process that's going on in between. Okay, keep focus, stay persistent, stay consistent, balance the grind versus the burnout, right? If the burnout is up here and the grind is here, try to find a way to don't even it out, but get that grind up and let that burnout decrease, right? It's like a lot of times when I'm at work, like my students, I'm like, your behavior decreases and your academics goes up, because once you're clear and you have clarity and these behaviors are not in the way, now you're able to listen to what you're being taught and keep building on those foundation skills. It's the same as life. Same as life. When you're down and you're out and you're upset or you're going through something and you're depressed, as your depression or your anger goes down, you're able to find more happiness. You're able to find more peace. You're able to find more joy. So it's the same thing. You can compare academics to behavior. You can compare joy to loneliness, joy to sadness, joy to anger, happiness, however you want to look at it. But you have to know that in between that hurt and that heal, there's got to be that hustle. You can call it trust the process. It's a hustle, because trusting the process is a major hustle. Right? I'm not talking about being busy. When I say hustle, I'm not talking about moving fast. I'm not talking about trying to get from one place to the next. Okay? I'm talking about getting on your grind and doing what you have to do for you to allow yourself to keep stepping up, taking one day at a time, moving week to week, month to month, and then you know the years are going to go by, and then you're going to realize that you made it through. Right? It doesn't mean you are where you want to be, but you're not where you've been. Okay? You are able to understand, I'm in a place where I'm okay with putting in the work. All right? So don't rush from the hurt to the healing. Don't rush it. All right? Hold on to that process. Hold on to that grind. You're going to have to make sacrifices. You're going to have to endure the long nights with tears, the long nights of pain, but listen, it rains outside and that helps the flowers grow. So don't hold those tears in. You got to let those tears grow. All right. Yes, you have to do meaningful work to move forward. Absolutely, Chelsea. All right. Tears are not weakness. Okay. Tears, people that I know, like in the Marines, they say pain is, weakness leaving the body. But the tears that you cry, they're not for nothing. The water's going to grow the flowers. Your tears are you releasing the things that you need to in order for you to grow. All right. Because trying to hold on to it does not help you grow. It doesn't help you move forward. It doesn't give you clarity. So cry a good cry, like people say. Get yourself a good cry. Have that good cry. And it doesn't just have to be one time. Have that good cry. Release those feelings out of your body so that you can grow. Just whatever flower you're supposed to be, the rose you're supposed to be, the tulip you're supposed to be. And yes, men can do the same thing, right? Men can cry so that they can grow. Men can cry so that they can have the clarity, right? Men can cry just like women so that you can get in touch with that side of yourself. Because I was just speaking to somebody the other day and I was like, look, what you feel is real. The pain you feel is real. And if you want to cry, cry. As a man, you're not weak. It doesn't make you weak. All right. It does not make you weak. It just means that you're human. So that cliche, men don't cry, boys don't cry. You got to get it out the window, be there for some guy, be there for somebody that wants to cry, and, give them that space to just be. Yes, Krista said, holding things in affects so much, especially your physical and mental health. You said a mouthful. You said a mouthful. Listen, your mental health and your physical health can be so affected by holding things in. You may not realize how much you're holding in until you are absolutely so sick and you're like, why? Like stress is so real. And we all know that stress is a real thing. But until you've gone through that part where you hold on to it and it takes a toll on your body and you have no idea why you're going through what you're going through, it is something serious. It is something serious. So feel your feels is important. Let it out. Okay? Holding it in is not going to be the way to get you to where you need to go to. All right? You're going to take, when you're in this grind and you're in this hustle from going from hurt to healing and you're hustling in between, all right, it's going to be exhausting. It's going to be exhausting, right? Because not only do you have sometimes maybe have to do physical work, okay, you also have to work on yourself emotionally. And if you work in an environment where you're going to be around people, you have to work on your emotions for you to be able to be socially acceptable for what you're doing, right? It's going to be hard to do your job if you have these emotions that are pinned up and you can't get through a call, or you can't get through a lesson, right? Or you can't get through a couple hours a day of work because you're holding in so much that, you know, you're not socially acceptable to people. You really cannot do your job, right? So know that it's going to be exhausting. Know that when you're going through the hustle, you're going to doubt yourself. Do I really need to be doing this? Is this really worth my time? Right? You might even ask yourself, do I even know what I'm doing? Right? Trust the hustle. I'm not talking tonight and saying trust the process. I'm telling you to trust the hustle. All right? It's going to be exhausting. It's going to come with exhaustion. It's going to come with rejection. It's going to come with more pain. It's going to be physically and emotionally taxing. Okay, because you have to understand you're fighting against another force. I'm fighting against the force of hurting and trying to get myself to a place of healing. Okay, it's me versus me, right? I have a sweatshirt that says it's me versus me. I'm my own enemy, right? But if I'm my own enemy, I also know what it takes to beat me. I also know what it takes to beat me. All right, people can talk to me, they can tell me exactly what I need to do, but I am the only person that can overcome what I'm going through on my own. Can somebody else fill in the gap and fill in the void and hold my hand and help me go through? Absolutely. But you also have to be willing to be open to accept all of that. And that in itself is also a struggle. Okay, so understand going through that hustle, it takes a whole lot. But as you go through this struggle, it is what's going to shape your journey. Okay, it is going to shape your journey. I hope I could remember this morning. I was listening to, a sermon from a pastor, and he was talking about your future. Pastor Mike Jr., I think that's his name, but he's talking about your future. And he was saying, I don't remember all of the three things, right? But I know he said your future is shaped from your desires. Your future is shaped from the decisions that you made in the past. And the future, I believe he said, is shaped by the things that you do. So when you're trying to get to someplace else, you got to have the desires to want to get there. You got to have purpose to want to get there, right? And you also got to realize the decisions. That's what he said. The decisions that you make along the way is also going to shape your future. All right. So you have to be able to go through those struggles and realize, even through that pain of trusting the hustle, that you are shaping your future. You're shaping your journey. All right. You know by now that just because you're hurting, it doesn't mean you're failing. But when you get to the hustle, you're pushing your limits. All right. I'm going to tell you again, you hurting does not mean that you're a failure and you're failing. But being able to push through the hustle means that you have the capacity, you have the will, you have the oomph to push the limits. And you are on your journey to healing. That process seems so long and it seemed like it's never going to come. But I can tell you, it is going to come. It will come, and it will happen for you as long as you're persevering, as long as you're being persistent. All right. Okay. So here's the question that I ask you. How do you acknowledge your hurt without letting your hurt define you? Okay, one of the biggest things that people go through is to take that hurt and then let it seem like this is me. You know, you are not that pain. You are not that hurt. You are not that situation that you went through. You went through it. It is not you. Okay, so how do you acknowledge what you're feeling? How do you embrace what you're feeling and not let it define you? Not let it shape what your future is supposed to look like, because your future has a purpose, right? And if you're a spiritual person, your future has a divine purpose. Okay? So don't let what you go through shape how you move forward. Don't let it shape your future. All right? There is strength in healing. There is strength in healing, but you have to trust the hustle. There is strength in healing. Trust your hustle. All right? Give yourself time to rest. Give yourself time to recover. All of this is happening as you trust the hustle. Okay? Give yourself time to rest. Give yourself time to recover. Okay? Because one thing you don't want to get to is having a false sense of healing. Right? You don't want to be hurting, do all this work, fooling yourself, and then you get to a place where you said you're healed or you're healing, and you know that you're not. Okay? Don't set yourself up, because it's going to show up and it's going to manifest in different things. All right? It may manifest in the way you talk to people. It may manifest in the places that you put yourself in. It may manifest in the decisions that you make. Right? So be honest with yourself. Be very honest with yourself as you're going through this process. Remember, it's not weakness. Okay? You hurting is not failure. You hurting is not weakness. All right? It is building you up for the journey, and you are building your strength. Like, turn your pain into fuel, right? I like to say there is purpose in my pain. Okay, as I've gone through my life and I've gone through my own situations, I have found out there is purpose in my pain. And as I've gone and looked for the purpose, I've found out there is pleasure on the other side, right? Like, I have done things that have been pleasing. Like, I have been pleased with myself in the things that I have done, right? I'm pleased with myself when I can go to work every day with a good attitude, teach my kids to the best of my ability, and I see them smile, and I see them happy, and I see them thriving. Okay? They would have never known what I've been through in the last 3, 4, or 5 years. Not because I was masking it, but because I was using that purpose from my pain to drive me to be the best teacher that I can be, to be the best person that I can be, to be the best friend that I can be, sister, daughter, however, right? And it's always going to be a work in progress, because nobody's perfect. Okay? So as you go through and you trust the hustle, allow the hurt to shape you. Allow the hurt to shape you. It's only going to make you stronger. Old cliche, they say, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. Well, I do believe that is true, right? What doesn't kill you make you stronger. And that doesn't just mean you survived it. It means that you did the work for you to survive it. You know, I didn't just wake up one day and say, boom, I'm good, here I am. No, there's a lot of work that you have to do. There's a lot of work that you have to do. So don't just hustle, right? Don't just get stuck in the hurt. Always fight for your peace. Always fight to heal. All right? There is beauty on the other side. There's flowers on the other side. There's purpose on the other side. There's satisfaction on the other side, right? So do yourself a favor. Don't get stuck, okay? As we live this life, we're not just going to go through one thing and say we've overcome this. But what we've overcome is preparing us for something that we don't know is going to happen down the line, right? And we're hoping that we've gone through the journey, we trust the hustle, and as we come to this other side and we feel that we're healing and still going through the process of getting to the healing, that when we encounter something else, we are better able to handle it. We've gained more knowledge to know how to handle it. All right? So like I've said, I've just had a word for you tonight, from the hurt to the hustle to your healing, right? So if you've been through something and you're doing the work, I'm proud of you, right? If you've been through something and you're using your pain for purpose and you are helping someone else along their journey, good for you. Way to go. All right. If you are in a process right now when you're hurting, but you are embracing your hurt because you want to go through the process, you want to trust the hustle to get to that side of healing, you can do it. Perseverance, consistency, and being honest with yourself about the way that you feel. Find somebody you trust. Don't go into isolation. Don't go into solitude. Give yourself the opportunity to live the best life that you were blessed with. It's not going to be a perfect life, but it's going to be a life that you can live and be proud of the way that you're living it. Okay. It doesn't mean you have to be rich. You don't have to live in a big house and you don't have to drive the nicest cars. Right. But if you can wake up every day and you have love in your heart for yourself and you have love to give to somebody else, and you know that with each step that you take, you're making a progress towards something positive and something beautiful, then you are giving yourself the best chance at life. You are giving yourself the best chance at being a model for somebody else that's watching you and you don't even know it. All right. So I say to you, embrace your hurt, trust the hustle, and give yourself the time and the space to heal. Okay. Embrace your hurt, trust the hustle, give yourself the time and the space to heal. And what happens on the other side, if you give yourself that space, is going to take you somewhere that you're not going to have any regrets. Okay. I wish you that you can go through and trust the hustle and find joy. And while you're on your journey to finding joy, I hope that you can appreciate the very little or very big pockets of happiness that you come around, and let that be the building blocks that get you to a never-ending joy. Okay, that is my wish and that is my desire for you tonight. So don't get stuck in the hustle. Don't get stuck in your hurt. Go through the hustle and give yourself space to get to the other side of the healing. All right, that's my word for you tonight. So again, I'm Dr. G. I always end by saying, my future is forward, your future is forward, and together we're all going to move forward. God bless y'all. I love you, and have an amazing and wonderful night. Keep pushing.